Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Alpha Omega occasionally. This is a true story and you won't believe what you're going to hear. You might ask yourself, why did I not tell this story before? It just never occurred to me. It's just that somebody reminded me about what happened, and I said, gee, I'll have to share that because you won't believe what you're going to hear. I'll cut to the chase. This happened about 11 years ago. I just arrived here. I'd met my wife. We were either married or about to get married. And I bought a car, a Toyota Camry Extremo, with all the bells and whistles. $36,000 worth, 1.35 million Thai baht. It was my pride and joy. It still is. I still have it. It's still going fantastically well. Anyway, one night I was out in the Raz, Friday night, Saturday night, and I'd left the house at about 9 o'clock, and I was coming back about 1:30 in the morning, and I was cutting through the local temple. The local temple has a plaza or a courtyard that at the time doubled up as a car park. Anyway, as I was walking through the temple, I noticed that my car wasn't there where I parked it. Now we're talking about 9 p.m. to 1:30 p.m, so a 4.5 hour window. So I didn't panic too much because my wife has access to the keys. Maybe she'd moved it or something, I don't know, you know. So I went back to the hacienda, the house. The mother-in-law's house is very close to the temple. It's right beside the temple. And there's a sliding gate. The sliding gate was locked. The padlock was locked, so I unlocked it and slid the gate across. Went to get my keys, look for my car keys where I'd hung them on the rice cooker in the kitchen area. It's an open air kitchen, but the place had been locked, you see. So the keys weren't there. So then I started panicking. So Harry wasn't born at the time. My wife was sleeping in the bedroom, so I went into the bedroom. I woke her up and I said, I won't be as colourful now as I was then. Where is my car? And she woke up and she didn't know, and she looked for the keys. The keys were gone. I said, what's going on here? So I started effing and blinding. I didn't know what Thailand was like at the time, because this is not indicative of Thailand. Believe you me, it's not. So basically, the whole household woke up. There were various members of our family living in the house at the time, from different generations of the family. And as I was walking up and down the back street just outside, I was pacing up and down, I was smoking at the time, I started kicking wheelie bins and doing all this. And I was told to hush up, because word had started to trickle through that a certain individual, 26-year-old male member of her extended family, had taken the car and gone joyriding. I don't know what you call it in the States, but it's to take the car and just act an idiot with it. With his mates, with his friends, with his pals. And I just went ballistic. 26 years old. I know he was an absolute layabout at the time. I won't go into any more detail than that because you can't say things like that on YouTube about people here. But I continued to rant and rave when I was told, they contacted him, and I had no tie at the time, and he told them, word came back to me that he was on the way back with the car. And my wife, because I was a little bit drunk, my wife says, just lie down. I lay down, didn't I fall asleep? Woke up the next morning, he was sitting outside the house. There's a table area there. There's a communal table for the people who live in the street, and people would eat and drink there and stuff. He was sitting there having a coffee, having a smoke, and I let him have it. I let him have it as anyone would. I gave it to him, hook, line and sinker. And my wife had to come back out again because I was screaming and shouting, and you don't scream and shout in Thailand on the street, especially saving face and all that. I had to apologise to him. I'm telling the truth. I had to apologise to him for the way I'd spoken to and it causing him to lose face in public. But do you think 11 years later, to this day, there's been any reply, any word of regret or sorrow or apology? Absolutely nothing. And not only that, and I'm telling you the truth, I wanted to call the police, but I was told, no, you can't do it, he's a family member. He took my car. I didn't even know the guy at the time. He took my car without asking and goes off with his mates. He wasn't even insured to drive the damn thing. So my wife, about 3 weeks later, had a shunt with a motorcycle, the fender damage. So she drove it down to the local panel beaters, And about a week later, it was due for collection, but she had no time to collect it. She was working, so she called the same idiot. And of course, her keys were hanging exactly where my keys had been, you see. That's where we used to hang our car keys. And of course, he knew that. But anyway, she asked him to do that favour for her. And what did he do? He collected, it was a Nissan Almera, metallic burgundy, 17 years old, one lady owner. It was pristine. It was her pride and joy. He drove it into a canal. I repeat that. He drove it into a canal. All the way in. I remember when she rang me and told me about this, I had to drive her in my car, which had been previously stolen by him, to look and see if it could be retrieved. It was right in up to the hood. It was at a 45-degree angle, but you could still see the hood, or not the hood, the trunk, or the boot, as we call it. I think a day or two later, they hauled it out. It was a complete write-off. She got about $500 for it in scrap. I remember her crying to me, saying that she does everything for everybody, and she does. She's the most selfless person I've ever met in my life. And this individual, in the space of a month, had stolen my car and drove her car into a canal. And guess what? He still lives rent-free in that house. And he still lives as if nothing happened, and she still lets him drive her car to this day. Can you believe it? This place is something that this place is something that you have to come to terms with. That's a true story. And it might seem unbelievable to you, but believe me, it happened. And the individual has had never offered, because he hadn't got the money, never offered to pay for my inconvenience for stealing my car, because I didn't bring it any further. I never offered her any compensation for what he did to her car. But in the meantime, he drives her car from A to B when she wants him to do a message for her. Still, to this day. You can say to yourself, that's ridiculous. Well, it is ridiculous. But as I said, I only make videos on this channel when I'm passionate about something, and you can tell that I'm passionate about this. But I'm not mentioning any names, I'm not giving any clues as to who that person is, but that's what happened. If you've got a story that's similar, and I doubt if you have, but if you do have any story like that where some Thai person had done something that caused you a major inconvenience and you never got so much of an apology or anything from them, let me know. But whatever you do in the meantime, lads, click that like button, the share button, subscribe button, do all those wonderful things, and I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. Thanks for joining me.